The history of pickleball. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the U.S. It now has 4.8 million participants nationwide and has grown by 39.3% in the past 2 years. In fact, the mix of badminton, tennis, and ping pong is the fastest growing sport in the United States for the second year in a row. But it's important to know where the sport comes from. What is the story behind this interesting game? Hello and welcome to Pro Pickleball Media. In today's video, we're going to look at a brief history of pickleball, how it received its famous name, and what the current popularity looks like. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the post notifications. Let's dive right into the video. Humans have always been exceptionally adept at improvising. In the world we live in now, improvisation is most often seen in music, dance, theater, and even comedy. But because people can make the best of every situation, we've come up with some of the most popular sports in the world. For example, soccer started when people filled pig bladders with water and kicked them around on small makeshift courts to kill time. And when it comes to the history of pickleball, well, it all started with people's natural desire to have fun on their own. Pickleball was invented in a sunny day when there wasn't much to do. In 1965, two friends, Joel Pritchard and Bill Bell, played golf and then went to Pritchard's house on Bainbridge Island, Washington. They said that their families were bored and had nothing to do. Chad started to come up with a plan to get his family and close friends out of their summertime rut. He wanted to keep them from getting bored. They played at Pritchard's house because it had an old badminton court, which they had hoped to play, but they couldn't find enough rackets to play a full game, so he made do with some extra ping-pong paddles and a wiffle ball. With all these random pieces, a whole new game was made. It's called pickleball these days. As the weekend went on and time went by quickly, they added their own rules to make their makeshift game even better. At first, the net was set at the standard badminton height at 60 inches, but the group found that the wiffle ball bounced well on their asphalt court, so they lowered it to 36 inches at this point. There weren't many rules for the game, so the next weekend, Pritchard and Bell showed another family friend, Barney McCullum, what they had made. From there, the three dads took a lot of ideas from badminton and made new rules with the goal of making the game easy for families to play. 2 years later, in 1967, Joel Pritchard built their first permanent pickleball court in the backyard of his neighbor and close friend, Bob O'Brien. The decision to build a permanent court for their homemade game made it even more of a favorite pastime. As the game became more popular in the Pacific Northwest, a company called Pickleball Incorporated was started in 1972 to help people buy the gear they needed to play. This includes paddles, nets, and balls that were made just for pickleball and not used in other racket games. The creation of this company not only helped people find the right gear to play pickleball, but also helped turn the game from a local hobby to a real sport. Today, pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the United States, and its popularity is also growing in other countries. The USA Pickleball Association has a list of almost 4,000 places across the country where you can play. To understand why pickleball has become so popular in the last 50 years, let's look at what it's like to play this fast-paced, fun, and friendly sport. Why is it called pickleball? Okay, so you know how it all started, but we're all still wondering, why is it called pickleball? Well, the USA Pickleball Association says that different stories about where the name came from. Joanne Pritchard, Joel's wife, started calling their game pickleball because the combination of different sports reminded me of the pickle boat in Crew, where oarsmen were chosen from the leftover of other boats. But Barney McCullum says that they named the game after Pritchard's dog, who was named Pickles. So you might have guessed. Even though real pickles taste sour, their dog was sweet and liked to steal the ball while it was being played. But depending on who you ask, both versions of the name of the game may be right. At first, pickleball didn't have a name. When the game started to become popular, it was time to give it one. Since pickleball is a laid-back game, it makes sense that it was named in a similar way. What's needed to play pickleball? Pickleball is cheap and easy to learn because you only need simple equipment to start. If you decide you like pickleball and want to play it seriously, you can always buy better equipment as you get better. To start playing, you'll need a paddle, a ball, the right clothes, a net, and a court. Paddle. The paddles you need to play are bigger than table tennis paddles, but smaller than regular tennis rackets. You can be made from wood, graphite, aluminum, and other composite materials. A wooden paddle is cheap and good for people who are just starting out, but it may be harder to control. Ball. At first, a spare wiffle ball was used to play pickleball. Today, pickleball is still played with a ball that has holes and is light. Make sure you buy the right ball for whether you're playing inside or outside. Check out the rules set by the USAPA if you want to play with a real ball. Clothing. Unlike tennis and other sports, there's no set way to dress. All you need to play tennis is a basic set of athletic clothes and some comfortable tennis shoes. Pickleball basic rules. Pickleball can be played on your own or with a partner, and the rules are the same for both. The ball must be served underhand and diagonally to the opponent's service court from behind the baseline. It can't bounce off the court. The serve has to go over the net and can't land in the kitchen. When the other player makes a mistake, you get a point, failing to return the ball, hitting the ball out of bounds, or into the net. Only the team that has the ball can score. The server will keep serving, each time on a different court, until the serving side makes a mistake. Games go until at least 11 points are scored and must be won by a lead of at least 2. Before you can volley the ball, it must have bounced at least once on each side after being served. This is called the 2-bounce rule. When a player is in the non-volley zone, or in the non-volley line, they can hit the ball with their volley. How is pickleball played? Despite how complicated the rules might sound, pickleball is easy to pick up, with only a few matches of play. Because the sport is played in such a friendly way, other players will be more than happy to help you learn the rules. The more you play, the faster you'll get used to these rules, so you can start your way to becoming a master. The court. Pickleball is played on a court the size of a badminton court, which is 44 inches by 20 inches. The sides of the net are 36 inches wide, and the middle is 34 inches wide. These are the rules that apply to both singles and doubles. The serve. The server starts by standing behind the baseline at the end of the court, on the right side of the court. He or she then moves to the next service zone. Then, the ball must be served underhand to be diagonal opponent's service zone with the paddle below the waist. So if you serve from your left service zone, the ball must land in your opponent's left service zone and vice versa. Serves must go over both the net and the non-volley zone, including the non-volley lines. If the ball touches this line during the serve, it's a fault. During a serve, you can't let the ball bounce on the ground. Instead, you have to hit it while it's in the air. During the service, both feet must be behind the baseline. There's only one chance to serve, unless the ball hits the net and lands in the right service court. This is called a let, and the server gets another try. Serving sequence. In a doubles game, each player serves until they make a mistake. The only time this rule doesn't apply is during the first service of each game, when only one player from the team that is serving gets to serve before the other team does. Every time the service goes from one team to the next, the first serve is always from the right court. If you make a point, you serve from the left side of the court. Players who serve can keep doing so until they make a mistake. If the first server makes a mistake during a game of doubles, their partner serves from the same side of the court as the first server. Volleys. Players can't volley the ball if their feet are in front of the line that says no volley. Even if they do cross the line during their follow-through, it's still a mistake. So, do you like watching or playing pickleball? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.